Okay, so just as a real broad brush overview, this isn't a this can't replace an entire course on marketing. It's such a huge topic. This really is a look over the last 25 years of my life in sales and marketing, and giving you some, top tips based around really strategy and processes. But there's a whole load of other things that I've thrown in here, which I hope helps. So it's a little bit mishmashed in a way, but it's hopefully just picking all the best ideas that I've got and compiling them down into an hour's session. So this is, my real world in marketing, if you like. So just click the slide on. So this is me. You've heard a big introduction. Really, I've got 3 skills and 1 passion, I think, is what I bring to this space. So I am an out-and-out salesman. I love selling. It's a whole profession. I get really excited by it. But of course, as part of selling, there's a huge amount of marketing that I do, because we'll come on to why that's so important later. But it's, these things are really dovetailed into each other. My second skill is technology. I love tech. I have all the latest gadgets, and I use a lot of tech in my sales and marketing career. And training. I absolutely love training. I've got huge experience in both running training companies, and I love to give training sessions like this whenever I can. It's really exciting to be able to give back. And the last thing is my passion really is startups, is starting businesses from nothing, or taking young businesses and really growing them as fast as I can. So what I've done over the last few months is set up this company called HyperGrowth. And as Ezra said, what we do is we double sales revenue of small companies. And not only do we double the sales revenue, we guarantee to double it. So if we don't double your revenue within 6 months, we've got a money back guarantee on all of the work we've done for you. So that's what I do. As an extra freebie for Bahrain, if you run a B2B company, or you're running a startup, if you're incorporating a startup, I'm doing free 1-hour sessions on sales. So if you're interested in massively improving the sales of your small company, contact me on the website, or my email, phone number, and book in a free, it's absolutely free to any company in Bahrain, a free 1-hour session where I can really, rather than a generic session like this, I can go into the specifics of your company. So that offer's open to all of you after this. Now, as part of my session here, I'm going to be using Mentimeter. I think if you remember last time, it's a way I can have a bit of interaction from you, because of course there's so many of you. To stop and ask questions through the session's quite tricky. But if you get a phone or another device and you type in www.menti.com and then type in that room number 4122-4172, what you'll see, you should see the presentation come up on that screen. So as I go through this, I'll be asking some questions through Menti. And what I'd like to do is start off straight away with a question. So if you open that up now, what I'd like to ask you all is, what do you think the difference is between sales and marketing? And of course they overlap, and there's bits in between them, but what's your view? What do you think is the difference between what marketing does and what sales does? And again, how do I get rid of this? Let me just bring that back. I think that banner at the top is hiding the URL. So it's www.menti.com, and then it's 4122-4172. Brilliant. I can see people are starting to get in. So marketing is to get brand recognition Sales is the result of marketing. I like that. That's good. Marketing, advertising and convince people to buy. Sales, IDK. Brilliant. Sales is to sell, marketing is to market. XD. Marketing is how to make the product appealing. These are all great, great examples. Brilliant. Marketing is the branding and the sales, the result of it. Fantastic. Oh. Just try and move this out of the way a bit so I can read what you're writing. You need to do marketing to be able to sell. Very, very good. That's very astute. Sales are the method to measure how well a business is doing. Marketing a way to raise the sales. Yes, yes. Marketing is informing about product. There's so many good things here. Yeah, let me move this out the way now. I think everyone's got the gist of this. Oh. There we go. Brand. Marketing is the branding, sales result. We said that one. Marketing is about the products. These are all fantastic. This is all, I'd say I agree with every single one of these. These are absolutely all amazing. What I'll do, let me just flick through and let's have a quick discussion around this, because this is really important in terms of terminology, okay? So a lot of people think marketing is everything and sales is a component of marketing. And other people think sales is everything and marketing is a component of sales. Well, the reality is they both intertwine. So for this presentation, what I'm going to be talking about really is the marketing part of this jigsaw puzzle, if you like. So it's really looking at, how if you think of sales is about taking a prospect and getting them to convert to get a contract from them. Whereas marketing is much more, as you've said there in a lot of your text, is much more around sparking interest in products, right? So marketing is the first step in getting all the leads interested, while sales is taking that interest and then nurturing it into an order. So that's the definition of where we're going to work from. So what I'd like to just do now is, this is a really broad brush around what sales or what marketing is, sorry. So if we look at all of these different bits, and again, within an hour, there's no way we can go into everything that's involved in marketing. But there are certainly traditional parts. So for example, we've got here, trade shows, events, sending out letters, PR, speaking events, and so on. Then there's a whole digital space, whether it's SEO or pay per click or content marketing, social, video and inbound and so on. There's location-based targeting, which I'll actually give you a little example later on of this, where you can do things which are very localized. And Bahrain is a brilliant, brilliant place for taking global ideas, copying them, modifying them, and running them locally. Then there's partnerships. Looking at strategic partnerships and how we can leverage them. Influence is a good one, collaboration, all the different co-marketing partnerships are very, very valuable. And then on the right-hand side, we've got things such as how to be setting objectives in marketing, the KPIs and ROI, budget, which is always a big one. So you need to know the ROI and tie that in with a budget. Culture, so we'll talk a little bit about people later on as well, and then really understanding who we're marketing to. So what are the buyer personas, what makes them tick, and so on. So this is kind of the whole space, and what I'm going to do is just pick through the bits of this that I think are going to resonate with you, and what I found over my career in marketing and sales, what seems to make the biggest difference. So why is marketing important? The way I like to describe this is the biggest issue that people in marketing find, and it's again and again in all the surveys, is just generating traffic and leads. Is how do you get people interested? How do you open that door and get them involved? And the way I describe marketing, it's like, if you think of your company as a living organism, it's like the oxygen for your company. If you don't have that oxygen, if you don't have marketing, your business will die. If you're not starting to get people through the door, if you're not telling them what you offer, if you're not getting marketing out there to engage with your target audience, if your target audience doesn't know about you, what you do, what your purpose is, your business will die. You're just not going to get the leads. You're not going to get the sales. So marketing is absolutely critical for your business. If you don't get revenue through the door, your business dies. So the number one rule of any business is stay in business, and marketing is the oxygen to drive that forward. So this is why it's so important. It's all about that oxygen. It's about getting awareness, and it's also about gaining trust with your audience. This trust has to start right at the very beginning of your sales process. So I hope you can see how important marketing is and why you should focus on it in a big way. Now, there are a few things in marketing. There's sort of three big areas, I think, that I like people to focus on. There's two, which is around what you're marketing, and one, who you're marketing to. So what you're marketing, the first big mistake I find with a lot of companies in marketing is they confuse B2C and B2B. And it's really, really important to know what you're doing, if it's B2B or B2C, because these have very, very different channels, very different messaging, very different approaches to marketing. There are some similarities, but you really have to know, is this a B2C or a B2B business? And it can get confusing, because if you think of a telephone company like Zain or STC or Viva or whatever it was, you know, these are real B2C companies. They have billboards, they're doing big adverts, a lot of social stuff, just to get in front of as many people as possible. But you've then got traditional B2B companies. So this could be a Greco, a generator company, which is targeting businesses. So you would never see in a Greco advert. You may not even have heard of the company, but if you run a business that might require a generator, you would be marketed to. You would know about them. So B2B is a lot more targeted, but then you get companies that do both, and you get overlaps, and you do start to get grey areas. So what's a good example? Car company, Toyota. Toyota are selling cars to consumers, absolutely. But Toyota are also going to businesses to sell fleeter cars. They might want to sell 100 cars in one go. And that's a very, very B2B sell. So the whole marketing, you really need to focus on, is this B2C, B2B, or a mixture? And from that, immediately you get a canvas on which are going to be the best channels, which is the best messaging, and how you're going to go about it. And even things like budget. So B2B, you can run a lot of B2B marketing for free. You can do it yourself. B2C marketing almost always requires budget. You know, there's always a budget involved. Now, there are commonalities between them. Both of this is all about engaging your potential clients. It's trust. You're going to have this funnel, so you can track things. And in both, remember, this is something we'll speak about a bit later. You're speaking with a human being as well. So don't forget, just because it says B2B, if you're marketing into Bapco or Alba, you're still marketing to a human being, not to a company. Okay, so never forget that human side. We'll go into that a little bit more in a minute. So that's the first thing. Is it B2C, B2B, and what are you going to do because of it? The second thing that's critically important here is, what are you marketing? To actually know your product or service inside out. And I'm amazed when people jump into a marketing career and they start marketing things, you ask questions about their product and they don't know. So they get so wrapped up in building the marketing plan and adverts and channels and digital space, they forget to actually go and learn what it is that they're marketing. So this is massively important. So the first job you get, and if it involves marketing, what you need to do is, as I say there, just live and breathe your product. Get to know it inside out, use it every day, and speak to everyone, right? So everyone inside the company, they could be part of the product development, go and speak to customer service desk, go and speak to the product developer, whoever it is within the company, go and use it inside out, okay? So this is critically important. And remember, learn everything around it. So learn, how do people pay for the product? Is it software as a service, subscription? Is it a blend? Are there upsells? How does the whole product and service get to market, and how does it work? So that's also very, very important to know, is what is the product and service. The next thing is to really know your customer. And again, a lot of people go into marketing things without really understanding who they're marketing to. So I ask questions like, who are you marketing to? And the answer comes back, well, everyone. As soon as you start drilling down into who your target audience is, you can look at all sorts of demographic data on who you're targeting it. And that can be gold dust. That can be really, really important to know. If you, instead of having to market to 100,000 people, you only have to market to 1,000, you can do much, much more marketing and get much better results. So the demographics is incredibly important. So you want to know, who are those best customers? What do they look like? And what's going to keep them loyal? Who's in the market for these products and services? Second point here is, why do they want it? And this is massively important. So what I often recommend people do is drop their work, stop work, call up the last 5 clients that you've secured and ask them, why did you buy this? Why did you buy our product? Why did you buy our service? And you find the answers come back completely different to what you thought. So going back to the car example, you might sell a Toyota Corolla to someone, and you've done that through marketing, you've done that through sales, they've bought the Toyota Corolla, and you think they've bought it because it's reliable, it's efficient, it's a Toyota, it's cheap to run. Actually, you ring them up and ask why they bought it, and they might say something like, I wanted a newer car than my neighbor had. And you just go, that's really not what I thought people would be buying a car for, but that's actually the reason that person bought that car. And knowing that why, whatever it is you're marketing, is really, really important to bring back into the marketing mix, because that then affects your channels, your content strategy and everything. So why? Ask them why they bought it and really understand that. So then, of course, ask your customers which channels they use on the, from the beginning right the way through to purchase, because they might use multiple channels through that process. And ask them, what is their customer experience? What's their customer experience of the process and of the product and of the company that you're working for? Everyone has unhappy customers. You can learn a massive amount from unhappy customers. They are gold dust. So go and speak to unhappy customers. If someone's got a complaint, go to the service desk, ask for the unhappy customers and proactively go and speak to them. You'll see patterns, you'll see reasons why, and that can be hugely valuable. And then, of course, learn what your audience will upsell to, what you can cross-sell to them, and how you can maintain, if you're doing a subscription model, how you can maintain them. So, right, what I've done here is I've explained briefly, knowing your product and service, knowing whether it's B2B, B2C, and also knowing your audience. But I've now got another question. So if you bring up Menti again, what I'd like to ask you, apart from knowing what you're selling and who you're selling it to, what else would you put in a marketing strategy or a marketing plan? You're doing a marketing strategy. So I give you a job in HyperGrowth and I've asked you, please, can you come? I've told you what we're selling, told you who we're selling it to. What else do you need to think would go into a marketing strategy? How I'm selling, where am I selling? Channels, brilliant, brilliant, absolutely, absolutely. So the channels are hugely important. Budget, brilliant, absolutely, absolutely. It's the first question that everyone asks, and it's a complicated one because the marketeers will ask the company, what budget do I have? And the company will say, what budget do I need? And it goes backwards and forwards. So figuring out that budget's critical. How to reach customers, acquisition channels. Yes, that's similar to channels, but you're right. And as we said, it can be multiple channels. Customer segmentation, launch date, absolutely. You can launch things too soon, can be a disaster, can't it? Scale of the business we are considering, absolutely. So for small companies, I like to see a marketing strategy on one piece of A4. However, if you run something like Alba, you'll probably end up with a 50-page marketing strategy. So you're absolutely right. Scale of business is important. Advertising, absolutely. What you're advertising, where, when, and how. How different the product is than the competitor. Yeah, competitors, competitor analysis, customer discovery, creation. These are all fantastic. What region? Okay, so geography, brilliant. Marketing objectives need to be met. Wow, I think you know the answer to all of this. This is brilliant. This is really, really good. Okay, I think this audience is spot on. You are all really good. So what I'm going to do, I'll just summarize what you've said here. So really what I like to see is almost a circle when it comes to a marketing plan or marketing strategy. Okay, so this is a graphic from Maura Woodman. I like it because it's kind of got everything. It's all written up there nicely. But what's really key, you know, if you look at objectives, or up here I've written goals and KPIs, key performance indicators. So what are the actual goals? What are the objectives? And you know, you've got a difference really between two sorts of goals. You've got quantitative goals and qualitative goals. So quantitative, you can say how many Facebook likes, or you know, how many hits on our website are we going to get per month. Those are goals which are really quantitative. But then you've got qualitative results. So you know, what is the feeling of our company? And you know, if it was a car company, are we a Mercedes or are we a Toyota? You know, so you've got those qualitative goals as well of where you're positioning, and really you want both of those. You want some quantitative and some qualitative KPIs and goals in there. We've then got channels, which I think you all hit the nail on the head there, how important channels are. So how we're going to take the message out there and how we're going to engage with our audience. Content, I've got a whole slide on content in a minute. Which content, when, and to who is critically important. We've then got all of the activities. So, you know, this is really getting into the key of the strategy. You've got all the goals, the channels, the content. What are the activities you're going to do every day, every week, every month to make this come alive and make this happen? So those activities are critical. Once you've identified the activities, the channels and the content, you can then put the budget together, right? So you can do this in this sort of order. And then wherever in here, weekly analysis, this is your data and evaluation section. So this is the quantify and measure, right down the bottom here of the graphic there on the right. And what you do with that data, if you're looking at the data on your objectives, your KPIs, your return on investment, all your analytics, whether that's, you know, Google Analytics for analyzing different feeds coming in, or customer comments and so on, you use that in reports to then go right the way back up to the goals and the KPIs, and you loop around this system. Okay, so this should be a loop. and you constantly keep updating those goals and KPIs and return on investment. Okay, so this is how we build a marketing strategy and a plan. And what I'd recommend after this is there are tons of templates. There's tons and tons of templates on building a marketing strategy. And I'd go and download one, take a startup that you're working on or a project, and build out a strategy using this type of format. It's a really, really useful thing to do. Okay, so digital marketing, I've called this slide, but this really isn't digital marketing, because again, digital marketing is a whole course, a couple of months long course in itself. There's so much to learn in digital marketing. I think my key thing in digital marketing is around systems and process. So a lot of people think digital marketing is, right, I've got these channels, one of them's email, one of them's a website, one of them's Twitter. Right, so I send an email out, I send it out to 10,000 people, I tweet once, and I've got a website running. And there are no leads coming in, the marketing isn't working. So you go, okay, email doesn't work for us, it's pointless, doesn't work. And actually what you haven't done is you haven't put a process and a system around it. So if you see, these are two just examples. This is one of running a video ad through Facebook. The one on the right is an email. So it's, if someone ignores the email, what do you then do? Okay, we're going to send a reminder after 7 days, check our ebook. If they ignore that, right, then they've got 30 days. We're going to issue them an invite to a free webinar. So we're constantly trying to get people engaged. After 3 or 4 goes, we might then give up, right? So we then got landing pages. Landing pages will then lead into whether they opt in or opt out of emails and so on. So you can see this is a really quite advanced process that has been put together here. So these types of systems and processes in digital marketing are critical. So you can use tools like ClickFunnels and so on. There's a whole load of them that you can use. But by having systems and processes, you can automate, which saves a massive amount of time, but you can also scale. So if you don't have systems and processes and you're starting to be successful, you have to employ more people or you have to do more effort. But as soon as you have digital systems in place, you can just up the number of people that you're reaching or up your advertising budget, or, do you see what I mean? So you can really start to scale. You can also do things like A/B testing. As soon as you have systems in place, you can start to say, right, this is one process we're going to run. I'm now going to modify this process and run 50% through a completely different process. And we're going to see at which stage in each process we're losing people. And then you might blend both processes together to come out with a new one. So all of this, my big tip of the day in digital marketing is systems and processes, right? So really focus on them. Wrapped around that, of course, with my sending out one email and they're not working. Remember, in sales, people will buy after, on average, about 12 or 13 touch points. And marketing starts those touch points right at this end, okay? So by the time you've had 5 or 6 touch points through marketing, your sales process then becomes much easier, right the way through to the end buying page. And the buying page is also a good one to make sure you get right in all this digital marketing as well. I've seen a few people not do this as well as they could do. When someone finally lands on your page to say, right, this is now 100 dinars, go right back to the beginning of why people buy this. So remember calling up your 5 customers. Why did they buy this? Your marketing message, and put that on your buy page, okay? This is the latest, Hoover or whatever it happens to be that you're selling. This is the healthiest biscuit in Bahrain. It's only going to cost you 10 dinars, So put that actually on the buying page. So remember, circle that right the way through and bring that messaging right the way back to the landing page as well. So those are sort of my tips on digital marketing. Okay, this is one thing that we all forget. So I forget this sometimes as well. We get so involved in digital marketing, all the SEO, building websites, using CRM systems, marketing systems, designing billboards, whatever it is we're doing, graphic design, we're doing all of these things. We forget it's all about people. That little picture on the right, people buy from people they trust. If at any stage of marketing we forget this is people to people, you're going to have a fraction of the results. And it's really easy to do. So remember in my previous slides, I was saying, get off your butt, go and speak to people in the company, go and speak to clients, go and speak to customers. It's this whole engagement with people that's going to give you massive results, because you bring all of that knowledge and experience of people and the product back into the marketing mix. That's going to set you above everyone else in your game. Okay, it's all about people. So people buy on trust, right? They might have a need, they might have urgency, they might have budget, but at the end of the day, they buy on the trust, your messaging and what's coming across. And as I said before, B2B companies are still people. You might sell into Aramco and you think this is Aramco and they have these systems and all this, but at the end of the day, there's a human being behind that process, or that wherever, you might email sales@aramco.com. It's actually a human being answering that email. So remember, this is all about people. And it's not only externally people, remember hiring here, it's all about the people in your team. So leadership in marketing is critical, right? So it's really thinking, what is the purpose? Why are we marketing what you're doing? And my recommendation in sales and marketing, if you're marketing or selling something you don't believe in, change jobs. Just get out of there, because you're going to not perform well. You're not going to rub off on the team around you. So really, you need good attitude, you need leadership, you need to be encouraging your team. Every day telling your team what the purpose of your company is, why are you all here, and what you're all fighting for. These are really, really key things. It's people outside, it's people inside. And inside your company as well, remember, you can align marketing with lots of different functions. So for example, I haven't put product development in there, but for example, customer service, if you go and speak to customer service, they will be telling you things you can use in marketing. They may well have, well, there's a whole load of these. If you market to this segment, they seem really interested, which you wouldn't have known before. Sales can be giving you great advice back into marketing, what's working, what's giving quality leads, and so on. So yeah, interconnection between different functions is also very important. So, follow-ups, qualifying leads, feedback into the different functions, make sure that that's working as well. So that's people. People is very important. But what's also important is content. I like this slide just because it kind of blots everything down in one space. So you can have, again, this is when you go into bigger organizations, they actually have separate content strategies, which is, dovetails into the marketing strategy. So it can be quite big. For most smaller companies, again, this can be quite simple. You don't have to have all of this at all. You can stick with, 3 or 4 different channels across this cycle. So, this is the typical marketing and sales cycle. Someone's unaware, they're aware, they're interested, they research and they purchase, right? This is your typical funnel. And at different stages, different channels work better. And because they're different channels, you need quite different content. So when you build out a content strategy, you really need to think what content is going to be best in which particular area. And having a robust content strategy really does get trust, get people engaged. Is virtually every big, multi-channel marketing campaign has a whole content strategy around it. The downside is content takes a lot of time. So you need to, when you're looking, again, when you go back to budget and time and everything, if you're going to have a content heavy marketing strategy, you need to really make sure you invest in time, and you've got to keep it going. This is a long-term approach, right? So make sure that you do this over a long time. I'll give you an example. How many companies' Twitter accounts have you gone to, and the last tweet is from 2015? You just turn off, don't you? You're just like, well, that's not a serious company. So the whole content strategy and keeping it fresh is very important. Okay, we've covered a massive amount. What I'd like to talk now is one of the fun things with marketing. So what I'm going to do now is ask a quick question. And this is using your imagination and your innovation. So go back to Menti, openmenti.com and type the magic number in. What I'd like to do is ask you the question, what's the most innovative marketing you have ever seen? So, you know, this could be content, it could be a billboard, a TV ad, a radio ad, it could be an innovative process. So what actually dragged you through that marketing process? What's the most innovative marketing you've ever seen that really just got you, that went viral and you thought, wow, this really, really, you know, has changed what we do? Because of course, using innovation in marketing, if you can get something to go viral, that may have cost you 100,000 dinars, right? In traditional advertising, you could do something for 1,000 dinars that everyone in Bahrain is tweeting about and going on Instagram and taking pictures. So have you seen any innovative marketing? So we've got funny songs and comedy skits. I don't think I'd be very good at them, but that's any other ideas? Haven't seen any innovative marketing. The movie 2017. See, I'm grey. I must have missed that. Olympic swimmers jumping is brilliant. Advertising on TikTok. Yeah, TikTok has taken the world by storm, hasn't it? Advertising through Twitch streams, brilliant. So yeah, when you start to get gaming involved as well, things like that, it's Discord and Twitch, things like that can be quite innovative and novel, can't they? Elon Musk breaking the glass on it. Yeah, was that accidental or not? That's an interesting one. I also like Elon Musk's car he launched into space. I think he's done quite a few, hasn't he? Promote your social media handles even in person. Yeah. Using national colors for marketing, I like it, definitely. It's red and white here. I'm English, red, white, and blue, but similar. Okay, let me just tell you a quick story of something that happened locally. Yeah, VR, that's brilliant. Okay, let me just tell you a quick story. I think someone's clocked my story already by the look of it. This is my favorite Bahraini innovation in marketing that I've seen. This is my addition to those messages. So this is in Egypt in 2012, and I saw it quite early on. It was a health and safety guy in one of the petroleum companies asked his team, he said, we've got to improve health and safety. I need you to paint these new tankers and I need you to write on the side of them, diesel fuel in Arabic and no smoking in Arabic. So they diligently went away and they wrote diesel fuel in Arabic, no smoking in Arabic. And this picture went viral. This is 2012, right? And this picture went viral. Everyone was sharing it. This was all over all the different social media channels. Everyone found this hilariously funny. So fast forward quite a few years, I think, was it 2019? Ikea put this advert on the side of their building, create your perfect night's sleep. And under it was some Arabic. And of course, a lot of the expats here and stuff drove past, didn't notice anything. But what did that Arabic say? All they did is they copied what happened before. They had noticed something had gone viral before and just copied that idea. Brilliant. This is the same thing in Arabic. And that went massively viral. So this was retweeted everywhere. There were people stopping, as you see in this picture, people stopping on the highway and taking pictures. It got in the papers, it got everywhere. Now, how much do you think that cost to do that advert? It cost the same as if they actually wrote the correct sentence. So this is a free advert that went viral around the whole of Bahrain, right? So this is just to really focus your mind. If you can use imagination, use innovation in marketing, you can get 1,000 times the results, not a double the results, you can get 1,000 times the results. So innovation in marketing, never ever forget it. And innovation is difficult, particularly if you work in a big company, because big companies kill innovation. Big companies will always say, you know, we have these processes, this is our brand color, don't ever go away from it. You know, this is risky, people might think this is real, you know, oh, we've got legal issues, all of this. So innovation becomes more and more difficult in bigger companies. But as you see here, Ikea nailed it. This was absolutely fantastic. So never ever forget innovation. Here's some other little ideas. So Coca-Cola with these big straws going into windows. I absolutely love it. Miele, Hoover, hoovering up all the cars going along the road. A bus, time to go vegan with a way I used to look before I was on my diet, you know, with the bus tilted over. Or in the United Kingdom, we have Kit Kats. I don't know how many people here eat Kit Kats, but their slogan is have a break, have a Kit Kat. So what they did is they half did a billboard, put a ladder with the person clearly on a break as wandered off. So things like this are just really innovative, and if people tweet your ideas, it will give you such a bigger more audience than you could possibly wish for yourself. So what I'd like to do is just quickly summarize all my top ideas for you. They're kind of three things with marketing, okay? So what we're trying to do here is increasing awareness. So, you know, when we see an advert or get a recommendation, we might not buy that product straight away, but it's getting awareness through marketing, right? So you're building that whole potential audience of customers who know who you are, know what you can offer, know where to find you, and are ready to buy. You know, you start to get that audience aware of what you do. Increasing sales, critically important, as we said before. When people know that your business exists, they're much more likely to become your customers. If they don't know you're there, how are they going to buy from you? So if your marketing campaigns are doing the job properly, you'll start to see an increase in sales shortly after. Right? So that's critical. And the third point there is trust. And people always want to buy from businesses that are trustworthy and have a trustworthy reputation. So your marketing can really embed that. You know, they want to know they can trust the business, and this takes time. You know, they want to know that they trust your purpose, trust what your company stands for. So trust is a big one. The next 3 points, remember we said know what you're marketing, whether that's B2B, what the product and service is, know your audience, and then all of the other things we discussed, create a measurable strategy. Whether that's a strategy written on a page or a 30-page strategy, depending on your business, doesn't matter. Creating that strategy is the absolute cornerstone of how you're going to deliver marketing. So that's critical. And the next point, constantly improve your processes and your systems. So monitor them, measure them, feed back into them, and improve those processes and systems. And the last point, remember the 3 golden threads we spoke about? This is all about people, people to people. Remember how important internally and externally people and engagement with people is. You've got to have good content, the right content in the right channel, and remember always to be innovative. Okay, so that's kind of my summary, and that really concludes the subject matter of my presentation. And what I'd like to do is just sort of end with one question for you. And what I'd like you to do, just so I can get a little bit of feedback and see where this was exciting for you, is what was the one thing, what's the one best thing that you learned today? What really, from going into your lectures this afternoon, into your week and into the next month, what's the one thing that's going to stick in your mind that you've learned about marketing from this session? And again, it's on menti.com, the number you can see at the top. Plan the marketing strategy. Innovation is key. Fantastic. That's two things, but they're two perfect. Yeah, without the marketing strategy plan, you're not gonna succeed. Innovation is, yeah, that's your secret sauce. If you can have innovation, you will be 1,000 times more successful. It's so important. Difference between B2C and B2B, yeah, it's obvious, but it's the difference of B2C and B2B are, I'd probably say half of the companies I work with aren't aware of that. They might kind of know it, but they haven't actually really understood the difference. You buy trust, absolutely. Trust is everything. If you don't trust someone, doesn't matter how good the product is, how good the service is, you're not going to buy it. You'll go somewhere else. Marketing isn't linear, circular. I would describe it as, definitely. Marketing strategies, innovation, buy trust. Wow, here. These are great. It's the petroleum. Yeah, it's the oxygen, it's the fuel. Marketing is the fuel for your business. Absolutely. Using multiple, I think that's using multiple channels. This is really good. I'm going to leave this just for another minute or two. I want to hear from all of you if you can. Staying in business. Yeah. I do say it, but I really mean it. If you don't really market well and bring all of that marketing into sales and convert sales, you do not have a business. No, without revenue, every business shuts and everyone goes home. Everyone loses their job. And it's, when you run your own business, you realize how important cash flow and revenue and these things are. When you're studying at university, they seem a bit esoteric, but when you're running a business, marketing and sales, you have to get right. Otherwise, there is no business. It's the most important. No market segments well, that's fantastic. Call 5 customers. Yeah, you'll be amazed how many marketeers. You ask them, when did you last speak to a customer? I don't know, I think we had a conference before COVID. Speaking to your customers is so important. Marketing growths. Okay, I just want to move on. I really want to keep on this, but I want to move on because I want to just open it up for questions and then just close as well. So again, thank you so much. I absolutely love presenting to all of you. Being a student seems like yesterday for me, and I would have loved more and more sessions of people that were in the workplace coming into university to giving their thoughts, because you've probably seen it's a very, very different flavor of learning and very different topics and the way it's put together. I find important in business compared to the theory. So I hope it's been really useful.